40,000 years of cave art, not one single smile? And the reason is not what you think. Picture every cave painting you've ever seen. The bison at Lascaux, the galloping horses, the red handprints pressed flat against the rock like someone reaching out of the stone toward you. Now try to find one smiling face in any of them. Go ahead. You can't. Thousands upon thousands of images, tens of thousands of years of art, and not a single grin looking back at you. So what's going on? Were these people just miserable? Cold, starving, terrified, with absolutely nothing to smile about? That's the obvious answer. It's also completely wrong, because the real reason there are no smiles on those cave walls is so much stranger and so much more human than they were having a bad 40,000 years. Most people assume no smiles means unhappy people, but that's like walking into an ancient library, finding no selfies, and concluding nobody back then had a face. The missing smile has nothing to do with mood. It comes down to three things almost nobody ever stops to think about: what cave art was actually for, what a smile actually is, and why. For almost the entire history of our species, showing your teeth was a genuinely terrible idea. Let's start with the walls, because cave art was basically never about people. Look at what's actually there: horses, bison, aurochs, lions, woolly rhinos, mammoths. The Cave of Chauvet, painted around 36,000 years ago, is essentially a wildlife documentary in charcoal and ochre. And humans? Almost nowhere. When a person does turn up, it isn't a portrait. It's a stick figure, a stenciled hand, or something genuinely eerie like the Lion Man carved around 40,000 years ago. A human body topped with the head of a lion. There are no faces, none. And you cannot put a smile on a face you were never going to paint in the first place. These weren't self-portraits. The art was about the animals they hunted, feared, and depended on, the spirits of a world that could feed you one week and kill you the next. People crawled deep into pitch-black caves by firelight to make these. That's not decorating, that's ritual, and a smile simply had no place on that wall. But here's where it gets stranger. Even after humans finally started drawing faces, for thousands of years after that, they still flat out refused to smile. Walk through the entire history of art: ancient Egypt, Greece, Rome, the Middle Ages, the Renaissance, face after face after face, and almost all of them dead serious. The Mona Lisa is one of the most famous paintings on Earth, partly because that faint little half smile was so bizarrely unusual for its time. And when photography finally arrived, still nothing. Pull up any photo from the 1800s. Stone-faced, grim. And there were reasons. Bad teeth, for one. A serious face signaled dignity and status, while a big open grin marked you as a fool, a drunk, or a child. Early cameras needed long exposures, so holding a smile meant holding it until your face ached. The casual smiling photo, the thing we now fire off a dozen times a day, is basically a 20th century invention. Okay. But that still doesn't answer the real question. Why was the smile, this thing we now do constantly, and without thinking, treated for almost all of history like something to hide? And here's the part nobody expects. Because to understand the smile, you have to understand that for most of human history, baring your teeth was one of the most dangerous things you could do. Baring your teeth did not start out as friendly, not even slightly. Look at our closest relatives, the other primates. When a chimpanzee pulls its lips back and shows a full set of teeth, that is not a chimp who's delighted to meet you. That's fear, submission, sometimes a flat-out threat. The relaxed, open-mouthed play face is where laughter comes from, but the toothy display is an ancient alarm signal millions of years old. And our smile is built directly out of those old signals. To a brain shaped by deep evolutionary time, a mouth full of exposed teeth does not say hello. It says danger. So, flashing your teeth at the wrong moment could read as aggression or panic, not warmth. The friendly smile we know had to be slowly, culturally tamed into something safe. And it cascades. No friendly smile convention means no reason to keep a grin. No reason to keep it means no reason to record it. And no reason to record it means nothing ever ends up on the wall. And now I have to tell you something that breaks this entire video in half. Everything I just said is true. And ancient humans still smiled. Constantly. Every single day. More than you do. Smiling and laughter are human universals. Every culture ever studied on every continent with no exceptions. And here's the kicker. Babies born completely blind, who have never once seen a human face, still smile. It isn't learned by watching. It's wired in. It's older than language, older than art, older than the caves themselves. So picture it for real. Ancient humans around a fire, parents tickling their kids, a hunting party stumbling home exhausted, alive and absurdly relieved. They grinned, they laughed, they smiled at each other in the dark, thousands of times every single day. They just never left us a single picture of it. The smile is one of the oldest things our species does, and one of the very last things we ever bothered to draw. So no, those silent cave walls were never the diary of a miserable people. The truth is the opposite. The smile didn't make it onto the wall because it was simply too alive to sit up there beside the frozen, eternal animals. It lived in the moment, a mother and her child, a hunting party home safe, friends laughing in the dark, and then it let go, and came back, and let go again. Billions of times, for 40,000 years. And here's the beautiful part, it never stopped. That exact same smile is still running through you right now. So the next time you grin at a stranger on the street, understand what you're really doing. You're sending a signal older than language, older than farming, older than every cave that was ever painted. The one thing our ancestors loved too much to ever put on a wall, and you carry it with you every single day. After 40,000 years of silence, it finally has a face. Yours.